Today I have for you 3 tips on how to boost your metabolism. So, if you are aging, which we all are, right? After you hit the age of 25, your metabolism or your metabolic rate begins to decline. This is independent of your muscle mass that you have. So you can just think aging and hormones, and that is just what's going to happen. This is the time where you start to realize that, you can't get away with all of the late night snacks that you're having, or, your body's getting a little softer, or maybe you're gaining weight or you're gaining body fat, and you're like, oh, I used to be in good shape. Well, you know what? Your metabolism does start to slow down. Unfortunately, it sucks, but that's just how it is. So I want to share with you some ways that we can kind of combat this. Now, as you know, your diet and exercise is super important, but I'm going to give you 3 tips on how to boost your metabolism. Number 1, build or maintain your muscle mass. Muscle tissue is more metabolically active than fat tissue. So what does this mean? This means that muscle tissue requires more energy to maintain itself than fat tissue. So say you took 2 people here of relatively the same weight, and this is just general, this isn't like scientific, but just 2 people, same weight. This person has more muscle mass and this person has less muscle mass and more body fat. Just in general, this person who has more muscle mass has a higher metabolic rate than this person over here. So it's very important to build muscle. Now, after you hit a certain age, you start to lose a certain percentage of your muscle mass every year. So if you are not exercising, this is like a double whammy on your metabolism. So age plus muscle loss, you are going to have kind of a crappy metabolism. Just say that. So what you need to do is you need to build muscle, and in order to do that, you need to have an effective resistance training program. Okay, you need to lift weights, and do not fear, because you will not turn into the Hulk, ladies. If you lift some weights, you are not going to get bulky. I don't understand why that is still perpetuated. What actually is bulky on the body is body fat, not muscle. So keep that in mind. And resistance training, especially for women, is so important for preventing osteoporosis. So you don't want to get into the cycle of not exercising and not taking care of yourself. So you're losing muscle mass, you're losing your bone density, your bones are becoming porous. That's what osteo, bone, and porous means, you're losing the density. So say you fall down in your older age and you break your ankle, heaven forbid this happens, but it does happen, or you break your arm, your wrist, or whatever, and then you're bedridden. And when you're bedridden, you lose muscle even at a faster rate. So it's just a vicious cycle. So it's super important to build some muscle. You don't have to be a bodybuilder, but to have some muscle on your frame and or to maintain the muscle that you have. Okay, so that was tip number 1. Number 2, another way to boost your metabolism temporarily is to eat enough protein, or eat more protein if you're not eating very much. And what I'm talking about here is the thermic effect of food. So this refers to the slight increase in calorie burn after you consume a meal. So this is due to digestion and processing and the utilization of nutrients of the food that you just ate. So each macronutrient requires energy to be digested and processed. Like I just said, your carbs, protein, and fat, they all require energy. But as it turns out, protein has the highest thermic effect. So out of the protein calories you eat, you're going to use up about 20 to 30% just to digest it and to utilize it. Compare that 20 and 30% to 5 to 6% for carbs and 3% for fat. So you can see there's a huge difference there, that consuming a higher protein diet, doesn't have to be crazy high, just mean having enough, can really help with your metabolism. And I know people are going to ask me, okay, well, what do I eat? What has protein in it? Well, okay, I could probably save it for another video, but just in brief, if you aren't a vegan or vegetarian, your meats, your eggs, your cheese, your Greek yogurts, things like that, they all have protein in them. If you are a vegan or vegetarian, you're going to look at your beans, your lentils, your nuts and seeds. Hemp hearts are great. If you do consume soy, organic tofu, tempeh, seitan, those are some great sources of protein if you are plant-based. Okay, so now tip number 3, and this is going to sound kind of weird if you're trying to lose weight, but tip number 3 to boost your metabolism is to take a diet break. So you're probably like, what the heck? Okay, so I'm telling you to stop dieting for a bit. And here's the reason why. So when you start to diet, so you go into a calorie deficit, your body is always trying to maintain homeostasis. Like it's always trying to keep you, where you are and keep the fat on your body in case of a real famine. But what happens is when you decrease your energy intake or increase your energy expenditure and you create a deficit, your metabolism starts to slow down and starts to match what it is you're doing. So if you've been dieting for a prolonged or extended period of time, your metabolism is like way down here almost in the trash, okay? And also if you go on these crash diets, like you're just destined to plummet your metabolism. So what you need to do is just take a break, increase your calories just slightly, and don't worry, like if you just only increase them slightly, you're not going to gain all your weight back. You're just probably going to gain some water weight back. So just increase your calories slightly for at least 2 or more weeks, depending on how long you've been dieting for. And when you increase your calories, you actually increase your metabolism. So that's important to kind of balance yourself back out, and then you can get back to dieting if that's what you were trying to do. So let's just recap. Tip number 1, build muscle. Tip number 2, eat enough protein or more protein if you're not eating barely any. And 3 is to take a diet break if you've been dieting for a long freaking time, okay? So just chill it out, regulate your hormones, everything, get everything back on track, and if you still have weight to lose or you still have a certain goal that you're trying to hit, then you can get back to it. Okay, so hopefully those tips have helped you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That really helps me out. I appreciate all the support. And if you have any questions, always comment below. Just let me know and I can make a video for you. And subscribe on my blog, and I will see you next time.